I'm not going to get super into like spoilery, wow, okay. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a what I'm watching video. So this is going to possibly be a new video, well this is a new video idea on my channel, but this is possibly going to be a new series on my channel, detailing what I'm watching over the probably a 2-week span. This is going to be movies and TV shows that I've watched over the past maybe month at this point, so hopefully the sound is not too far off. I have a air conditioning unit. The AC is not actually on, but the fan's on, but it's just really loud. So, I mean, if I wanted a quiet one, I'd pay a lot more money, but this is like $150 and it's really loud. Before I actually get started on what I'm watching, I wanted to touch on very exciting news that came from the Disney parks today, that the ride Splash Mountain is being rethemed on both coasts in the United States to be Princess and the Frog themed. I didn't know I was going to do a video on it, but the video would have been extremely short, so just decided to go ahead and put it in here because I was already going to film today. A couple things, whether or not you agree with the retheming or stuff like that, the rumor of a retheme of Splash Mountain has been in the works for a very long time. I think what happened is they wanted desperately to retheme it, but didn't know what they were going to theme it as. There were a couple ideas that I had heard floating around before Princess and the Frog. However, there were petitions going around about 2 weeks ago over trying to retheme Splash Mountain into Princess and the Frog. So we got the news press releases today. So Disney had claimed that this had always been in the works, or that not always, but that it had been in the works for the past few years. However, if that was the case, we definitely would have gotten concept art at D23 last year. So I think they, again, like I said, that they were thinking of the retheming for a long time, but they weren't sure what route they were going to go. So the idea that it was going to be rethemed was an idea that was for a long time, but I think over the past few months they might have come up with the Princess and the Frog idea, or at least heard what people are saying and really took it to heart. I think this is going to be a fabulous update to the ride in general, not just because of the controversial nature of Song of the South, but something to keep in mind as well. When it comes to that ride, Disney has never been able to fully market that ride because the movie got banned. So you can't get the movie in the United States unless you get it from some sort of black market place. I mean, you can get it on the internet somewhere. It's not like black market, you're going to have to go in to get it, but it's not a readily available film. So Disney is not able to make merchandising profit off of it. So a really good economic standpoint would be to market a property they already have that they don't have any sort of attraction that would fit the theming as well, because it is in Frontierland, but it has a very southern theme like the movie itself, Princess and the Frog. So I think this is a great thing. I'm just very excited to go to both parks. I will not probably be going to either park until 2021. Disneyland is a high priority for me at this point. Next year is also the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World, which I am very much planning to go to for several reasons. But I digress in my Disney videos. If you are interested in any sort of theme park updates or more theme park content on my channel, please let me know. Unfortunately, I cannot go to a lot of theme parks in the area that I'm at. I live in New York City, so the closest we have would be Six Flags Great Adventure that recently announced a reopening for next month, but I probably won't go for a few more months. And also Legoland is opening in New York as well. So now I'm going to get on with the video, and we are first going to be talking about films. So the first films we're going to be talking about are Godfather 1 and 2. I had never seen either of them, which is really surprising as somebody who loves movies and is an actor. Entertainment is kind of all that I'm about here. But these movies are incredible. They're as good as people made them out to be. They definitely live up to the hype, which I feel like so rarely is something that happens, just because, you know, people really hype things up that they're passionate about, but you never know exactly why. But these movies are just top tier. I prefer the first one. A lot of people do like the second one even better, and I feel like for the first hour and a half of Part 2, I was liking Part 2 better than Part 1, but I feel like Part 2 doesn't have as good of a payoff as Part 1 does. I'm not going to get super into like spoilery. Wow, okay. It's probably not even a word in general, but, you know, okay. I just felt like 2 was a little bit more anticlimactic. I did like the aspect that it focused a little bit more on real life events that were going on. Which they just interjected the characters into, dealing a lot with Cuba and the communist revolution there, as well as in the United States there were trials for the mafia that were going on, so they put those in there as well. I would have thought it would be, I thought when I saw the trials what they were doing is that they were going to the McCarthy hearings. I thought that's where they were going to go with that, but it was not. I'm curious to see Part 3, even though the reviews are lackluster in comparison. So the first 2 have very high scores on like Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb. Rotten Tomatoes has a score of in mid to high 90s, whereas the third one, which came out in the 90s, has a score of like somewhere in the 60s, which is certainly not terrible, but not as good as the first 2. So I would be interested to see that. I'm not quite sure where exactly in the story it picks up. I'd have to look a little bit more into it, but I'm definitely going to watch it at some point, just don't know exactly when. I'm not in a super huge rush. Next movie I'm going to talk about is Moonlight. I have realized over the past few weeks of filming and doing things in general that I have not put a lot of LGBTQ content on my channel, which sucks because it's Pride Month, and I would have loved to put more content, but I think with everything going on and me constantly being in the house, it's just, for some reason, it's not been as huge a priority for me as like last year was. For those of you who don't know, and it's in my profile picture as well, I am a lesbian, so that's the first time I've said that on my channel. It's still interesting to say that out loud. I used to identify as bisexual for years, but I realized that just wasn't who I was. So there's that. I have watched a few LGBT movies this year, most notably Portrait of a Lady on Fire, which was amazing, but I'm not reviewing that today because I watched that in theaters, so that was a few months ago. But in terms of Moonlight, these stories need to be told, and I feel like the reason that I don't have so much LGBT content on my channel is because it's not necessarily something that we see all the time. I mean, if you're on the internet, you certainly probably see a little bit more content than if you're just living out in the world, especially when it's not Pride Month, because it's not a priority for a lot of people, so it's just a lot of our stories are not told. And I think Moonlight is important, especially because not only does it follow a young gay man, but it follows a young gay black man and what he is going through and what he went through throughout his life. I definitely think that it's important and a very historical moment when it won Best Picture. Also, it was very kind of funny. I do feel bad a little bit for the cast and crew of La La Land, but that was quite the Oscar moment. One thing I do have to say about this, the movie is a lot more simplistic than I thought it was going to be. The plot is pretty straightforward. It's not, you know, there's not these obscure plot lines or sidelines or stuff happening or big twists or anything, but I think that's fine. It's definitely more of an artistic indie movie, and I really it was really good. Shifting out of that little like important and artistic movies for a second, I did a little bit of a Marvel rewatch. I did not rewatch all of the MCU, so I had thought about doing that for a while, but that is quite a task that I'm not sure I'm up for. But I did kind of a little Guardians rewatch, because I rewatched Captain Marvel. I have full reviews on Captain Marvel, Infinity War, and Avengers Endgame. I have lots of videos on all of those, so I will just go ahead and link those videos below and up in the cards, because I don't feel like the need to go back into them. Guardians 1 is one of my favorite movies of all time. I don't know how much I can say about it. I just really do love it. I feel like everything about it has been said, and that's great, but I'm a huge Guardians fan. Little Star-Lord and Gamora, and they're hiding behind here, and it's probably too far away, you can't see. So I do love them. Guardians 2 I like a lot, but I think a lot of it is the character work. I like the plot line, but the plot line of 1 I find a lot better. I feel like it's executed a little bit better as well, but I still do really love Guardians 2, and I still would rate it very highly, but Guardians 1 is my favorite. Now that we've had my little comic book nerd switch moment, I watched Five Bloods, which is the new Spike Lee movie that is on Netflix. I love Spike Lee. I've only seen this in BlacKkKlansman, so I need to watch more of his work, but I really love his directorial style, which really shines through in this movie as it does in BlacKkKlansman. He's very big on connecting things to the real world, even though it's obviously a story, and then there's fictionalized elements of it, but just like the images and videos of real life events I find incredibly interesting, and I feel like it makes you connect to the movie a lot more. This makes me connect to the movie a lot more. I love the arc of the characters. This movie goes from 0 to 60 real fast. Like, real fast. It was unexpected to the point where I was like... So, yeah. If you don't know, it's usually... This sort of stuff's not my cup of tea. There is like very much army level behind sort of stuff going on. I feel like it gives like the vibe of like the Netflix movie Triple Frontier that has Ben Affleck and Oscar Isaac in, and I didn't really like that movie either. This is definitely executed much better and is a much better movie in general. But it's like the same sort of, it gives me the same sort of vibe, like in terms of plot line. And oh my god, Norm Lewis is in it. This is the first time I've ever seen him in a movie, which is amazing. Norm Lewis is an amazing Broadway actor. He's been in so many great roles, and he is so great. And it was amazing seeing him in such a big part, and I think this is great, especially when Broadway actors switch over to film. They don't always get great opportunities, so this is really awesome for Norm Lewis, and I'm very happy for him. And then the last movie that I have been watching was, I rewatched BlacKkKlansman the other day. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. Every time I watch this, I was like, it is so good. It is acted so well. Everyone is amazing in this, specifically John David Washington, specifically Laura Harrier, because I feel like she's slowly been in like more things lately as well. But when you watch Spider-Man Homecoming, you don't really have a sense of how good of an actor she is. And then she was in Hollywood, and I felt like she was good in that, but it wasn't like fantastic. She's amazing in this movie. And in terms of like John David Washington, I cannot wait to see him in Tenet, because he should have been in more roles already. He should have had more offers. He should have been nominated for Best Leading Actor. I think it is messed up that he was not at the Oscars in 2018, considering he is the BlacKkKlansman. So I can't even get into the award shows, because it is clear why certain things are the way they are. This movie desperately deserved Best Picture. Again, I love Spike Lee, so I remember him walking out when Green Book won Best Picture. This whole story is amazing. If you've not seen it, watch it, because I'm pretty sure it's leaving HBO this month, so no longer be on HBO after this. And then I just want to wrap up with 2 TV shows I've been watching. So first, I started the Clone Wars at the beginning of this quarantine time. So back in March, I am up to like halfway point through season 4. It's definitely picked up for me. I know like a lot of what happens because I know how Star Wars works. Like I know that it ends with Order 66 and Darth Vader. So it ends basically at the beginning, at the end of Revenge of the Sith. That took a minute. I love all the little clones, and I love, I'm loving it so far. I think like Ahsoka's really come into her own at the point where I'm at. She has 2 lightsabers, which is pretty sick. Seeing Order 66 is going to be a massive bummer. But it is what it is. Welcome to the Star Wars land. And then last, I have been rewatching Watchmen on HBO with my roommate. This series is so amazing. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It's so good. It's funny because she was very confused, having not known anything about Watchmen, like the comic series, which a lot of people who watched the TV show just didn't know anything about it. So had to explain that a little bit, which was interesting. But now she says it's all coming together. So we have 1 episode left, and we might be watching that tonight if my rehearsal that I'm running gets out early enough. So yeah, if you liked this video, let me know. If you want to see another one, let me know. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe. I make lots of different types of videos about films, about comic book films, videos about theme parks when we're not in quarantine, videos about Disney, videos about makeup. I do a lot of makeup videos, vlogging videos, any sort of thing. I can do whatever you want. I have a couple videos already filmed. I have a couple vlogs that are ready to go, and I have a declutter that's already ready to go. So hopefully I'll be able to get 2 of those videos out next week, and film more stuff next week for you as well. Whatever you want to see, I'll film it. Not whatever you want to see. Whatever you want to see like that, if you have an idea for me, that's appropriate. I'll put that on there. So, thank you guys for sticking around with me. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.